Money has a way of revealing people's true colors, especially when it comes to family. I'm Isabella, and this is the story of how my sister's greed led her to forget the most important lesson our mother ever taught us. Growing up, my sister Rebecca and I couldn't have been more different. She was the social butterfly, always surrounded by friends and admirers, while I preferred quiet evenings at home with Mom, helping her with her accounting work. Mom had built a successful financial advisory business from scratch after Dad passed away when we were young, and she made sure we understood the value of money and hard work. Money is just a tool, Mom would say, particularly when Rebecca would complain about not getting the latest designer clothes or newest gadgets. It's what you do with it that matters. Rebecca never really listened. She was too busy planning her next shopping spree or social event. Meanwhile, I absorbed everything Mom taught me about finances, investments, and the importance of planning for the future. The differences between us became even more pronounced as we grew older. I followed in Mom's footsteps, getting my degree in finance and joining her firm. Rebecca pursued a career in fashion, burning through money as fast as she could make it, always certain that Mom would be there to bail her out. "You're such a bore, Isabella," she'd say during our rare family dinners together. "All you do is work and save. You need to live a little." What Rebecca didn't understand was that I wasn't just working, I was learning. Mom was teaching me everything about her business, not just the client-facing aspects, but the intricate details of how she'd built and maintained her success. Then came the diagnosis. Cancer. Aggressive. Mom faced it with the same quiet determination she'd shown throughout her life, but she knew her time was limited. She called me into her home office one evening, about 6 months before she passed. "Isabella," she said, her voice weaker than I'd ever heard it, "we need to talk about what happens after." She showed me documents I'd never seen before, explained arrangements I'd never known existed. Most importantly, she shared with me the reason behind her methods. "Your sister," she said softly, "has never understood the responsibility that comes with wealth. I've tried to teach her, but—" She shook her head sadly. I knew what she meant. Despite having a successful career in fashion, Rebecca was constantly in debt. Her lifestyle exceeded her income, and she relied on regular loans from Mom to maintain her image. "I've made arrangements," Mom continued, showing me a particular set of documents. "Everything has been carefully planned. You'll know what to do when the time comes." I didn't fully understand then, but I trusted Mom's judgment. I helped her organize everything according to her wishes, never questioning her methods. When Mom passed away, Rebecca flew in from New York, designer luggage in tow, ready to claim what she saw as her rightful inheritance. She barely made it through the funeral before starting to ask about the will. "When can we meet with the lawyer?" she demanded at the reception. "I need to know what I'm working with. I've already put a deposit down on a penthouse." I felt a flash of anger at her insensitivity, but kept my voice level. "Mom's lawyer will contact us when it's time." The reading of the will was scheduled for the following week. Rebecca spent the intervening days alternating between making plans for her money and criticizing how I'd handled Mom's final arrangements. "The flowers were so plain," she complained. "Mom deserved better. Good thing I'll be in charge of the money now. I know how to do things properly." The day of the will reading arrived, and we gathered in the lawyer's office. Mr. Anderson, who had been Mom's lawyer for decades, looked uncomfortable as he began to read. "To my daughters, Isabella and Rebecca," he began, "I leave my earthly possessions with the following conditions." Rebecca leaned forward eagerly. "To Rebecca, I leave a trust fund of $500,000 to be administered by Isabella, with monthly distributions not to exceed $5,000. Rebecca's face went from eager to furious in seconds. "What? That's ridiculous. What about the rest?" Mr. Anderson continued. "To Isabella, I leave the remainder of my estate, including my business, properties, and investments, with full discretionary control." "This is absurd." Rebecca jumped to her feet. "The estate is worth at least $3.5 million. She's stealing my inheritance." I remained quiet, remembering Mom's words about timing and patience. Rebecca turned on me, her face red with rage. "You manipulated Mom when she was sick. You turned her against me. I'll sue you for this." Mr. Anderson tried to interject, but Rebecca was beyond reason. She stormed out of the office, already on the phone with her lawyer. The next few weeks were a nightmare of legal threats and public accusations. Rebecca took to social media, painting herself as the victim of a manipulative sister who had taken advantage of a dying mother. She hired an aggressive lawyer who specialized in contesting wills. "We'll prove undue influence," her lawyer declared during our first meeting. "Your sister spent far more time with your mother during her illness. She had ample opportunity to manipulate the will in her favor." I sat quietly through their accusations, waiting for the right moment. Rebecca's lawyer presented document after document, building what he thought was an irrefutable case for contesting the will. Finally, when they had finished their presentation, I reached into my briefcase and pulled out an envelope, the one Mom had prepared for exactly this situation. "Before we go any further," I said calmly, "Rebecca should read this." "What is it?" her lawyer demanded. "A letter from our mother," I replied, sliding it across the table. Rebecca snatched it up, probably expecting to find evidence she could use against me. As she read, her face went from triumphant to confused to shocked. Tears began rolling down her cheeks. This can't be real," she whispered. But it was. The letter detailed every loan Mom had given Rebecca over the years, hundreds of thousands of dollars that had never been repaid. More importantly, it revealed the existence of a secret account Mom had maintained for decades. "My dearest Rebecca," the letter read, "if you're reading this, it means you've chosen to contest my will. I knew you would, which is why I prepared this explanation. The $3.5 million you believe you're entitled to? It doesn't exist, at least not in the way you think." Rebecca's hands were shaking as she continued reading. "Every time you came to me for money, for your first apartment, for your business ventures, for your credit card debt, I didn't just give you loans. I documented everything and deducted it from what would have been your inheritance. Over the years, you've already received $2.8 million. The $500,000 trust fund is what remains of your share." Her lawyer was reading over her shoulder now, his confident demeanor crumbling as he realized their case was evaporating. "Isabella didn't steal your inheritance," the letter continued. "You spent it yourself, bit by bit, year after year. I tried to teach you about financial responsibility, but you never wanted to learn. This trust fund arrangement is my final attempt to protect you from yourself." Rebecca collapsed into her chair, tears flowing freely now. Her lawyer quietly gathered his papers and excused himself, knowing their case was dead. "Why didn't you tell me?" Rebecca asked after he'd gone. "Because Mom wanted you to learn this lesson yourself," I replied. "She hoped you'd understand without needing to see the evidence, but she prepared for this possibility." The letter went on to explain Mom's reasoning in detail. She hadn't just been giving Rebecca money. She'd been carefully documenting everything, maintaining separate accounts to ensure everything would be clear when this moment came. "Your sister," the letter concluded, "has been taught everything I know about managing money responsibly. That's why I left her in charge of your trust fund. She understands what you never wanted to learn, that true wealth isn't about spending money, but about using it wisely." Rebecca was quiet for a long time after finishing the letter. Finally, she looked up at me, her makeup streaked with tears. "I've been horrible to you," she said softly. "You didn't understand," I replied. "Mom knew that someday you would need to face this truth." The revelation changed our relationship fundamentally. Rebecca's social media accusations disappeared, replaced by a lengthy public apology. She began meeting with me regularly to review her trust fund and learn about financial management. "I never knew Mom kept such detailed records," she said during one of our meetings. "Mom kept records of everything," I explained. "She built her business on being thorough and transparent. She wanted to teach us both, but we chose different paths." Over time, Rebecca started to understand the lessons Mom had tried to teach us throughout our lives. She scaled back her lifestyle, started paying attention to her spending, and even enrolled in some financial management courses. The trust fund arrangement, which she had initially seen as an insult, proved to be exactly what she needed. The monthly distributions forced her to budget and plan, skills she'd never developed before. "You know what's ironic?" she said to me about a year after the will reading. "If I had learned these lessons earlier, I probably would have inherited much more. I literally spent my inheritance without realizing it." Mom's secret account became a symbol of her foresight and wisdom. She had known her daughters well enough to predict exactly how events would unfold, and she had prepared for everything. The business continues to thrive under my management, and Rebecca has found a new path, combining her fashion expertise with her newfound financial wisdom to start a successful personal styling consultation service that actually makes money instead of just spending it. Last week, Rebecca came to my office with an unexpected request. "I want to reduce my monthly distribution," she said. I'm finally learning to live within my means, and I'd like to let the trust fund grow a bit. Mom would have been proud of that moment. Her secret account hadn't just protected the family wealth. It had finally taught Rebecca the lesson she'd needed to learn all along. The envelope that changed everything sits in my office safe now, a reminder that sometimes the most valuable inheritance isn't money, it's wisdom. Mom's careful planning and documentation did more than just prevent a legal battle. It helped heal our family and taught us both invaluable lessons about responsibility and truth. Rebecca and I have grown closer through this experience. Our relationship now based on understanding and mutual respect rather than competition and resentment. We meet regularly not just to discuss finances, but to remember Mom and the incredible woman she was. She was always 10 steps ahead of us, Rebecca said recently. Even from beyond the grave, she knew exactly what we needed. The secret account that caused such drama has become a family legend, a testament to our mother's intelligence and foresight. But more importantly, it's a reminder that true parental love sometimes means letting your children learn difficult lessons in their own time. Mom's legacy lives on not just in the business she built or the money she managed, but in the wisdom she shared and the lessons she taught. The secret account wasn't really about money at all. It was about teaching us both what really matters in life. And that's a lesson worth far more than any inheritance. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.